Can you be addicted to social media? This is the question that nearly 40 million UK citizens may find themselves asking on a daily basis. However, leading psychiatric associations are still yet to add digital addiction to the official list of mental health conditions. While making this documentary, I have embarked on my own journey, which will see me take on a 1-month ban from social media, vlogging my experiences as they happen. The last decade has seen social networks establish themselves as a pillar of our society, leading us to wonder what once was and what will be in the years to come. The first thing on my list was perhaps my toughest task, switching off from social media and saying goodbye to the online world for an entire month. Hey, I'm Shay Spears, and welcome to what life looks like without social media. It basically looks the same. It's the 1st of November today. That marks the first of 30 days in which I will be going unplugged from the digital world. I'm optimistic that I will be able to achieve this. I feel the longer I go into this process, the easier it will become. That's what I'm hoping anyway. To better my understanding of our dynamic relationship with social media, I made my way to Bournemouth University to meet John McAlhenney, a social psychologist who has been researching digital addiction for the last 4 years.
People seem to have quite conflicting ideas. So on one hand, they see social media as being something which is almost a necessity, something we feel we have to engage in just to function in society. At the same time, people often express a desire to have more control over social media. So we feel perhaps a little bit that they're kind of being pulled along by social media rather than really being in charge of it. So we feel we have to respond to messages, we feel we have to have a Facebook profile. They worry that if they don't do these things, they'll be somehow kind of ostracised or excluded.
As I came close to completing my first week without social media, I was already drawing parallels with what John had told me. Despite being more productive, I couldn't help but feel excluded from society, something my next interviewee could certainly relate to. I'm in Chichester. I'm 5 minutes away from Hattie Gladwell. She used to be obsessed with Tumblr. That's what I've made from her story so far. So when I found her online, I just had to go and meet her. I had to go ask her about her story in person because it sounded amazing. 4 years ago, Hattie was left housebound due to a serious illness. Left bored and wanting purpose, she decided to create a Tumblr account. Little did she know that she would soon be spending 13 to 14 hours per day trying to perfect her profile. However, once well and able to live a regular life again, she soon realised that she no longer wanted a normal life. All she ever wanted to do was be on Tumblr.
It really negatively affected my mental health because I practically lost all of my friendships because I became so used to, over that time, just using it all day that it felt weird to do anything else, and I wouldn't realise how much it had come into my life. So, for instance, when I was finally back out and seeing my friends, I'd be on my phone checking Tumblr. Instead of talking to them and planning to do things, I'd be asking to use their laptops. And so at the time, people were sort of getting this idea of me that, oh gosh, she's just, all she cares about is her online image. And that wasn't the case. It's just because I'd got so used to using it that it had become such a big part of my life, and it didn't even register that it might be affecting my relationships.
While speaking with Hattie, I was keen to find out what eventually drove her to breaking point, causing her to finally delete her Tumblr account and walk away.
It ended up that I completely isolated myself further, and I ended up moving 4.5 hours away to live with my dad for 6 months. And not a lot of people know, but I moved there just because I'd had enough, and I felt like everybody was talking about me, and not in a nice way. I just decided a couple of months in that I didn't want it to be how it was back at home, and so I ended up deleting it.
Hattie had described her addiction to me as pathetic, which is why I think many others may be suffering in silence. They might think that there is no help out there, or even worse, that their problem is not worth sharing. And because of this, our youth are becoming ever more dependent on social media, oblivious as to whether they may or may not be addicted. As days became weeks, I began to miss social media and started reverting to other forms of technology to distract myself. This is when I decided that it was vital to gain the insight of someone who chose to live this way on a permanent basis. After chasing many dead ends, I finally found a lead on the student room. With only a first name, a location, and this brief description, I made my way to Cambridge, hoping someone would turn up. Luckily, upon arrival I was greeted by Adam. Having nearly completed my 1-month ban of social media, I was eager to find out why Adam chose not to be a member of the social networking world.
Social media would be good, is convenient for some things, but the drawbacks of that, I think, there'd be a risk of spending too much time and being unproductive. A lot of the major platforms like Facebook, they try hijack your psychology and give you ways to use it because they want you to spend more time on it.
As Adam highlighted, a popular reason why social media is often frowned upon is due to its lack of productivity. However, Dr. Ryan Ali, a senior researcher in digital addiction and a colleague of Dr. McAlhenney, believes this can change if the right software is made available to him and his team.
I think it is a simplistic view to look at detox as detached completely from digital technology. What we are advocating is a regulated usage of that, a conscious usage of that, and providing tools for people to be more in control of that usage.
Proposing an app that could potentially help regulate people's social media usage, I knew the exact person to pitch this formula to.
But I do think having like a notification to say you've been on it this long, because as I said, when you're on it you don't realise where the time goes.
As my 1-month ban came to a close, on reflection I knew that we had come too far to ever turn our backs on social media. But as the world still debates whether or not we can be addicted to it, surely providing more support and options to regulate usage should be our highest priority.